Hello, and welcome to the Drawhunter. I am your charming host, Kevin Cleary, and this is the only football gambling podcast where we don't pick any winners. We hunt for the result that pays better than most of those win bets. We hunt for the draw. So why this angle? Why do we do what we do? I've been a sports bettor for a long time, and I just don't find a lot of value in even money bets. And draws pay well, and they happen. They happen a lot. 30% of all pro matches end in a draw. It's like this every season. It's worldwide in all of the major leagues and the international competition. And that's not random. That's not a fluke. That makes it a probability. So we look for the hidden value draws where the market is pricing outcomes too heavily towards the favorites or volatility. These fixtures combine low scoring averages and balanced possession, historical draw frequency and market pricing, and a few other factors that combine to give contrarian value to us, which is what we look for when we make a draw bet. These are the games where parity equals a payoff. Even if you want to bet on winners, and I do that too, running down the games through this kind of perspective is still a valuable handicapping tool. Betting on sports is about gathering as much useful information as possible so you can make the correct decisions. So let's talk about our picks from the last episode. We'll get to the winners in a minute, but we had a couple of heartbreaking losses. The Everton versus Liverpool game, picked that one as a draw, and it was a draw for 90 minutes, and then stoppage time began. And 10 minutes into stoppage time, Liverpool scored their winner. Now, the same thing happened to us over in Belgium, Charleroi versus Standard Liège. We lost that one to a Liège winning goal at 90 plus 3 of stoppage time, of 5 minutes of stoppage time. I think the Liverpool game had like 8 minutes of stoppage time, but it went 10 or something like that. One of those crazy things that only happens when Liverpool is playing. But the winners that we had over the weekend were pretty good. We had Cassiopeia versus Santa Clara in Portugal. That game ended 0-0. Nobody scored anything. That is what I like to call a true draw, where nothing happens and you go home and there you go. Because, as we all know, once a goal is scored, if it's 0-1, then it's really not a draw anymore when the equalizer is scored, because then it's a win for one team and a loss for another. There's no way that they can not look at it that way. But a 0-0, that's a pure draw, and I love that one. Then we had our big game of the weekend, was that I told you was my favorite game of the whole weekend, the Copa del Rey final, or as I like to call it, the Copa del Chaos. It was Atletico Madrid versus Real Sociedad, and that came down to 2 at the end of regulation. And Sociedad went on to win it in penalties. So congratulations, Real Sociedad, for winning the Copa del Rey. But that draw was plus 290. So that was a good one for us. And oh, by the way, the Cassiopeia draw, that was plus 210. So let's get into the games and the picks for the midweek action happening April 21st through 23rd. Today is April 20. And we're going to start off with some games on Tuesday. Standard Liège versus Royal Antwerp over in Belgium. This is the Pro League's Conference League playoffs to see who gets to play in Europe next year. This game's taking place. It's a Liège home game. They are plus 140. Antwerp is plus 185. The draw is plus 220. Ball possession rates are very close between these two teams. Standard is at 45. Antwerp is at 48. Standard has scored 33 goals this season. They've allowed 39. Antwerp has scored 35 goals this season. They've allowed 36. So they're both underwater, but they're both very close to 50-50. In their last 3 games that these two teams have played, there have been 2 draws. They've played, it was 1-1, then there was a 1-0 victory for Standard, and then 0-0. Only 2 goals in one game of the last 5 played between these two teams. And this is a Conference League playoff, as I mentioned before. Both sides are low scoring, as we could see by their goals for and goals allowed. They have very balanced underlying numbers and a recent 1-1 draw between them. Standard's home edge is real here, but Antwerp's double chance profile plus that tight expected goal profile and the repeated low totals scream a point split more than a decisive result. The matchup and the recent head-to-head cadence, 3 draws in the last 7, by the way, many of them 1-goal games, makes the draw price very attractive to me here. And that draw price was plus 220 again. Let's jump across the channel over to the United Kingdom, where we've got a game in the Championship League. Queen's Park Rangers, I love QPR, versus Swansea City. This is this game is being played at Loftus Road in London. The home team, QPR, is plus 125. Swansea is plus 205. The draw is plus 245. QPR has the ball about 43% of the time. Swansea has it about 50% of the time. Goals scored, goals allowed. QPR has scored 58 goals this season. The problem is they've allowed 65. Swansea is doing okay. They've scored 51 goals this season, but again, their problem is that they've allowed 56 goals scored. So both of these teams are underwater, not by a lot, but still they're underwater by like 10% of their goal totals. Okay, in the last 5 games, there has not been a draw between these two teams. They've split them fairly evenly. QPR has won 3 games, Swansea's won 2. But if you go back over a longer period of time, the last 20 games, 28 games, etc., you're going to see a pretty even breakdown of wins and draws. Go back 28 games, 9 QPR wins, 10 Swansea wins, and 9 draws. So over time, the away side has nicked several recent meetings. The fixture tends to be very tight and very streaky. Both of these teams are mid-table right now with almost identical season records and the goal differences that we just discussed. Neither has a strong motivational edge, with the playoffs effectively already gone for them. QPR's home uptick is offset by Swansea's better ball control here and their decent away scoring. Multiple models lean slightly towards QPR on this, or QPR or draw, but the underlying parity, Swansea's history of getting results here, and a very fair draw place at plus 245 make the stalemate a very live outcome, especially if QPR's attack continues to be very streaky, which it is, again, 58-65. And those were our Tuesday games. So now let's go on to Wednesday. And we're actually going to look at a game in the Major League Soccer over in the MLS in the United States, where we've got FC Dallas playing Minnesota United. We are now at a point in the MLS season where we have enough stats and numbers compiled that I feel comfortable crunching them to look for likely outcomes now. This game is being played in Toyota Stadium in Dallas, Texas. Yeehaw. The home team here, Dallas, is plus 115. Minnesota United is plus 220. The draw is plus 270. I like that. That's a good number. Ball possession rates are very close between these two teams. Dallas is 45 and Minnesota's is 42. So far in this semi-early, this first part of, I'll call it first part, it's not really early anymore, this first part of the MLS season, Dallas has scored 17 goals. They've allowed 12. Minnesota has scored 10. They've allowed 13. Historically, this is a very tight matchup with several one-goal games and multiple draws in their last 10 meetings. Both teams play a compact, low-tempo phase, and neither reliably controls possession. Minnesota's road matches often flatten out into low-margin contests, while Dallas rarely separates from opponents unless they're at their peak form, which they are not. And what the heck, let's stay in the United States for another MLS game with Real Salt Lake versus Inter Miami. I mean, you know, the thing about the MLS is they are a minor league, but they just steal all their names from all of the other leagues in Europe and the historically famous franchises and stuff like that. Real Salt Lake, Inter Miami. I mean, come on. Okay, I beat up on MLS often enough, and that was this week's episode. This game is being played at America First Field in Salt Lake City. The home team, Salt Lake, is plus 125. Inter Miami is plus 175. The draw is plus 290 on this one. Ball possession rates are again, pretty close on this one, and they both know what they're doing here. Real Salt Lake has the ball about 50% of the time. Miami is 55% of the time. They have both scored 16 goals in this early part of the season, and Real Salt Lake has allowed 10 goals scored, and Miami has allowed 14. They really haven't played very much. And there's not a lot to go by historically, except for the fact that Real Salt Lake at home tends to grind matches down, and Miami's road form is historically inconsistent. So the models lean towards a 1-1 type outcome for this game, and that's where we're going with that one. And those were the Wednesday games. So now let's go up to Thursday, and let's start off in Spain in La Liga with a couple of our favorite draw predicting choice teams from this entire season. If there was an MVP award for our show to give out, maybe there should be one at the end of the season. Rayo Vallecano versus Espanyol would be two of the teams that would be nominees for one of our awards. That's for sure. This one's a home game for Rayo. It's in Madrid at Estadio del Vallecas. They are plus 110. Espanyol is plus 260. The draw is plus 230. Rayo has the ball 50% of the time. Espanyol has it 45% of the time. Boy, the goals for and goals allowed are it reads like a police blotter. Look at this: 29 goals for, 38 goals allowed, and that's for Rayo. 37 goals for and 48 allowed, and that's for Espanyol. Ooh. They are both underwater and going fast, in need of a lifesaver. This is an extremely draw-friendly fixture historically. In the last 10 meetings, there have been 4 draws and 5 one-goal games. Typical score lines are 0-0, 1-1, or 1-0. These are two of La Liga's most grind-heavy sides, and they've proved it to us week after week after week, going back the last 6 months in this season. Rayo at home, they rarely separate from their opponents, and Espanyol's away matches are notoriously low margin. This matchup historically produces stalemates, and the tactical profiles, compact mid-blocks, low shot volume, reinforce the draw angle for us here and make me feel very comfortable with that choice this week. Up last today, we have Saint Trudiens versus Anderlecht, and this is in the Belgian Pro League. This game is being played in Steyen in Saint Trudien. It's a home game for Saint Trudiens. They are plus 110. Anderlecht is plus 210. The draw is plus 260. Guess what? Ball possession rates, they both have the ball for 54% of the time. Boom. Nice and even. I like that. Goals, Saint Trudiens, 48 goals scored this year so far, 38 allowed. Anderlecht, 50 goals scored this year, 45 allowed. Very balanced teams. You talk about parity. There should be a picture of this matchup in the dictionary next to the word parity. Because head-to-head, out of the last 6 meetings, there were 4 draws in the last 6 games between these two teams. Let me tell you the scores. 1-1, 0-1, 2-2, 0-0, 1-2, and 1-1. This is one of the most draw-leaning fixtures in Belgium, and we love that. St. Trudiens at home are very difficult to break down, and Anderlecht's away matches, especially in the championship round, historically tighten up. This head-to-head record is overwhelmingly draw-oriented, and the tactical matchup between these two teams with all of those underlying statistics and everything like that naturally compresses the game. And I think as we get to the end of the season, both of these teams would be happy to take home a point from this matchup. So there you go. That's it for this episode of The Drawhunter. I am your charming host, Kevin Cleary. New episodes of the show drop twice a week. Mondays, like today, for all the midweek action, and Thursday, check in for the weekend slate. Once again, please subscribe to our show at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, or Podbean, wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a like, leave us a review. That would be fantastic. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at drawhunterpodcast@gmail.com. That address again, drawhunterpodcast@gmail.com. From the entire Drawhunter team, thank you for listening and spending some time with us today. And remember, there's no stopping it. Draws happen. Gambling involves risk. Please gamble responsibly. This show is for informational and entertainment purposes only. No guarantees are made regarding results or financial gain. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. You must be of legal age to participate in gambling activities. Check your local laws and regulations before placing any bets. This podcast was made by humans. Accept no substitutes.